have something, and they've put their money where their mouth is, and
that's
given
awesome.
us a beautiful, beautiful
So
right
now we're at the 223 North Coast Highway, but the new location and by the end of this month will be where?
We'll be right around the corner at 312 Pierview Way.
32 Pierview Way. That's really awesome, and that's going to be 3 times the size?
3 times the size of this, absolutely.
That is really cool. So I'm here with Jane, and Jane, how long have you worked at the Surf Museum?
I'm one of the co-founders of the museum. We started up in 1986.
86, wow, that's awesome.
In a little old restaurant in Encinitas, and we actually moved to Pacific Beach for a couple of years after that, and then we found out that there was a vacant building in Oceanside that the landlords were amenable to having a bunch of surf historians move into it.
Cool.
And we opened up over by the pier. We've been 14 years in this building on the Coast Highway. Now we're poised to move to the larger location.
That's exciting. That's really exciting to see that, that it's expanding and growing.
Yeah.
So do you mind walking us around and maybe showing us some of the highlights of the museum?
Sure. Let's go.
I'm sure you know the ins and outs and all the cool stuff and the stuff that we should know about. First of all, you're selling stuff here. Rotating displays, right?
You never know what you're going to get when you come in. That's why we want people to come back again and again, and they do.
That's really nice.
And we have a little guest list that shows that people come from all over the world. And as much as we think we're teaching people about surfing,
right,
and the history of surfing and the fun of it and the culture of it, we are, but we learn from our visitors.
Right.
We learn about surfing in the Great Lakes,
oh, wow,
surfing on the East Coast, surfing in Ireland, surfing in the Galapagos Islands. These visitors bring this information to us. It's just terrific.
That's really cool.
It's a privilege to collect that information.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So like you said, the museum's always growing.
Oh, yeah.
Always getting new donations and new things to...
Well, the history remains the same, and it's our job to just keep digging it up,
right,
and uncovering more and
more stories, right,
individuals, more boards, more stories, more photographs. We're greedy about that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I'm just looking. This is a great picture. You have of Duke here, and he was probably one of the most well-known surfers as far as getting the surfing culture kind of going. Is that true? Or?
Well, yes. At the time of Duke's prime, surfing had just been rediscovered in the Hawaiian Islands, and so everywhere he traveled as an Olympic swimmer, he took a surfboard with him, and he revolutionized the whole water sports system in Australia. When they took one look at surfing, they just said, "Oh my gosh, we have to do this." Duke put on surfing exhibits wherever he went.
He was always known as a real gentleman and a very nice guy.
A very humble person and a great ambassador for surfing. They couldn't have had a better one.
And are these original boards that he would have surfed on?
Well, we're thinking that the board on the left was possibly shaped by Duke himself.
Wow.
Although we're finding out now that he really didn't have his hand in that many surfboards.
Right.
But we're learning things all the time.
What were these first boards made out of? What kind of wood did they use?
Solid wood, and usually redwood, or in the Hawaiian Islands, koa wood, until it became pretty much used up. It's hard to get big pieces of koa wood, certainly now.
So you got boards all over, even up on the ceilings too.
We do.
How these boards that are next to Duke, how old would you estimate those are?
Well, the board that we know the age of is this board,
okay,
which is one of California's earliest documented surfboards from around 1912.
Wow.
Okay. And other than that, they don't come with any identification, any way to measure the precise date on the boards unless they come with a lot of provenance.
Sure.
That they're from a single family, or people that have really closely guarded the history. And let's face it, boards get left out in the sun, they soak up the salt water, they get chopped up, they get thrashed on rocks and piers, and burned for firewood so you can cook abalone at the end of the afternoon.
Yep. And then
one of Duke's favorite places to surf was Corona del Mar.
I see that's the display you've got here.
Yes, and it was an easy access beach, and it had nice, long, rideable waves.
Where is Corona del Mar? Is that up in Orange County?
Yes, well, yeah, it's just north of Laguna.
Just north of Laguna, okay.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
In between there and
And
Huntington?
Newport.
In between there and Newport,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just a little cove.
Yeah,
place.
I've never actually been there. I've probably driven by it and just didn't even realize, but
I bet you have. I bet you have. And,
check out
you know, they had an easy way to get down to the beach with their heavy, heavy wooden boards. And again, a nice, long, sweet wave made it for a fun experience.
yeah.
And there was just a handful of California surfers at that time. You can see they all had their upper body covered there in the picture, which means that that picture was taken before the middle 30s.
Right.
Because it was a law that men had to wear full suits.
Did they really?
They
In the
did.
30s?
Up until the mid-30s.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, it was a modesty law type of thing. Actually, men and women almost sometimes wore the same bathing suits.
Wow.
You can see an original suit right there on your right.
Let's check that out.
That's from the late 20s. Wool, scratchy, itchy,
Right.
and smelly when wet.
So, was it kind of the Beach Boy era? When did surfing really start taking off in Southern California? Yeah, there we go.
Here's
Just grab me.
history
Just
lesson
grab me.
over
Here we go. Okay.
See, this spells it all out.
Right, it spells it. I can see how you're going.
Right here. The big thrust in surfing came with a book called Gidget in 1957, which was on the American top 10 bestseller list, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And then they made a film in 1959, and it just captured the heart of all the young people, the youth in Southern California.
Right.
Then it became big to drive from the valley in droves, and the girls would come out to look at the cute guys on the beach that they saw in the movie.
Right.
The guys saw the cute girls coming to the beach, and the rest is history.
History, right.
Yeah. So Malibu became this like mecca for people who thought the surfing culture was all of a sudden instantly cool. And then right after that came, you know, the beach blanket bingo type movies.
That's
with pop stars
a
of the
girl
day.
on that wave there surfing. Is that right?
That's Kathy Zuckerman. That's
Zuckerman.
the original Gidget. The original Gidget girl.
Wow.
Sandra Dee was only the star who made Gidget a household name internationally. Kathy is the young woman who kept a diary for the summer, and her father turned her diary into the book Gidget.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she has the original diary still.
Man,
And
I love you.
There's a picture of her hanging out there at the wall, okay, with the guys.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Endless Summer, you see, came out in 1964.
Right.
So the guys who would argue that it was Endless Summer that did it, you know, no, not exactly.
No.
Yeah, it's first Gidget.
This is great. Now, is this the one of the original posters for promoting the movie or promoting the book?
I would think that is.
It looks
Yes.
like it to me.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Gidget, yeah. So let me just zoom in here.
Sure.
With Sandra Dee, Cliff Robertson, James Darren, Arthur O'Connell, and the Four Preps, which I guess that was their soundtrack, huh?
Santa Catalina, the island of romance.
Man, how is it I could live in California all this time and not have any
Awesome.
idea?
Cliff Robertson is a San Diego native.
Oh, is he really?
And a surfer. Yeah, and a pilot now. Fine, fine actor. I'd love to talk to him and interview him about what he thought of his role as the kahuna.
She's the sweetheart of the beach generation.
Absolutely.
Man, that is some really good
And
stuff.
they couldn't have found a cuter gal to burn that into the American consciousness. Gidget calls herself the accidental icon because she had not expected this to happen.
Right.
After her summer, she just went off to college, forgot her bruised, encounter with the first love type of thing.
Right.
And didn't think much about where Gidget, and then the term Gidget, I mean, there's a clothing company called Gidget that has nothing to do with her, so her name and her product and what she put out there has been used by others to make millions. But by Kathy, she just has the memories.
God, wow, look at this poster down here. Oh,
Yeah, there was a whole spin-off. Did you know that?
No,
Sean?
I did not.
Oh, yeah, there were several Gidget movies.
So once they did the first movie, then they said, wow, this is really a hit. We better make some...
Yes. Well, that's Hollywood, right?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Rambo 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, right. If they can do it with Rocky, they can do it with Gidget, yeah. Wow, these are really classics.
And then what happened in the